My spouse's words sliced through the dining room like a honed dagger. "You're irrelevant," she scoffed. "Stop acting like you're significant." She handed over the bowl of green beans with the same casualness, as if commenting on a rainy afternoon. "Most days, we barely register your presence," my daughter added, her eyes glued to the glowing screen of her phone. I tapped my fork against my wine glass, once, twice, thrice. The room fell silent. Standing slowly, I spoke. "I'll make this brief," I announced. "Just 3 sentences." By the second, my wife's face had paled to a ghostly white. Quietude, over time, becomes a way of life. It wrapped around me slowly, like a thick quilt. Gentle, suffocating, easy to ignore. I once thought love was a serene comfort. In reality, it's easily cast aside or erased. We were something like a family long ago. I worked grueling hours so she could stay home. I created magical birthdays. Whispered "I love you" every morning, even when the words went unreturned. I believed that was enough. I was wrong. The first crack appeared 2 years ago. A faint whiff of cologne lingered on her scarf, not her fragrance. I noticed her late-night calls, always answered behind the locked bathroom door. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, now slept beneath her pillow. Then came the photographs. I didn't hire a private investigator. I didn't need to. She grew reckless, overly confident. On a Tuesday, I followed her to a hotel, room 402. I held back from confronting her. Not yet. I needed to grasp the full extent of the rot. It was deep. My daughter, 17 and entitled, called me emotionally weak in a text I wasn't supposed to see. "He's worthless," she typed. "It's honestly sad. Mom says his glory days were in '09. I read it parked in my car, engine idling, watching them laugh in a cafe with her new companion, Derek, 45, real estate, sporting a Rolex, no wedding ring. It wasn't just betrayal. It was annihilation. They didn't just want me gone. They wanted me erased. So I smiled and planned. For 14 months, I became the phantom they claimed I was. A nod here. Agree to everything. There. I let her think I was oblivious. Let them believe I was fading while I was uncovering everything. I cloned her phone's data. Tracked every bank transfer, every hotel reservation, every careless text to Derek about how the fool still pays the mortgage. I hired a forensic accountant, set up 3 shell companies, bought a coastal house under a different name. No one suspected. Not yet. Then I rewrote the will, rerouted the trust fund, cashed out an old life insurance policy, and hid the money where she'd never find it. I transferred the car titles, the house deed, all within legal limits. She still signed anything I put in front of her. Years of habit. She never bothered to read the documents. Why would she? I was the nobody after all. Tonight was the final act. A family dinner, kept by tradition. The roast was overdone, the wine overly sweet. My wife wore scarlet, the color she wore when I first professed my love. Once she wore it for me. Now it was a show for him. And my daughter, God, my daughter. She wouldn't even sit near me. They didn't know I'd met Derek that morning. Didn't know I'd shaken his hand and given him a folder. Photos, messages, a notarized affidavit from a private investigator, and a quiet warning. You'll want to stay clear of the fallout. She's not who you think. His face looked like he'd swallowed glass. So when I tapped my fork and said, "I'll make this brief," they rolled their eyes. First sentence. "The house is no longer yours." She blinked. My daughter glanced up. Second sentence. "I've filed for divorce effective immediately." Her fingers gripped the table's edge. Third sentence. "And when you reread the prenup, which you should have, you'll see you're left with nothing." She leapt up, her chair scraping the floor. "What are you talking about?" she hissed. I slid the folder across the table. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside, everything: her affair, the lies, the money trail, her signature on a revised prenup from a year ago. She thought it was a mortgage refinance. My daughter's voice shook. "Mom." My wife couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. I stood, buttoned my jacket, and walked to the door. "Oh," I said, looking back. "The car in the driveway? It's mine again. Yours is being towed." She lunged, yelling words I didn't need to hear. My daughter ran after me. "Dad, wait. Where are you going?" I met her gaze, reflecting the coldness she'd shown me for years. Home. Then I walked away. By morning, the locks were changed. The accounts were frozen. The credit cards declined. Derek disappeared from her life, publicly shamed. The photos spread through his office. I didn't need to intervene. My wife tried to fight, claiming emotional abuse, but the evidence was irrefutable. Judges don't favor deceit and infidelity, especially when every transaction is timestamped. My daughter texted me a week later. "Why would you do this to us?" I didn't reply. She was right about one thing. I had peaked, not in 2009 but the moment I walked away. They realized I was never the nobody. I was the storm they'd overlooked. Silent, gathering strength. And now, I am no longer quiet. I am the reckoning.